Hi guys, it's me, Dom. I am going to be reciting a daily poem. Um, as y'all know, yesterday I have been going off of a new poetry book. It is this one, The 100 Great Poems of the 20th Century. I think I kind of mentioned how I like opening random ones and just kind of going off that. I feel like that's the best way I find things. It's always just like I feel like it finds me, if that makes sense. But yeah, let's get started. Let's open here. Okay. mm, I don't understand it. Um, okay, let's do this one. Sorry, I didn't understand it because there was dialogue and it was just like kind of confusing. But this one also was kind of interesting. It is kind of put into sections. So let's get started. Um, this one is I Am Writing to You from a Far Off Country by Henri Michaux, translated from the French by Richard Ellman. So this is portion one. We have here, she said, only one sun in the month, and for only a little while. We rub our eyes days ahead, but to no purpose. Inexorable weather, sunlight arrives only at its proper hour. Then we have a world of things to do. As long as there is light, in fact, we hardly have time to look at one another a bit. The trouble is that nightmare is when we must work, and we really must. Dwarfs are born constantly. 2. When you walk in the country, she further confided to him, you may chance to meet with substantial masses on your road. These are mountains, and sooner or later you must bend the knee to them. Resisting will do no good. You could go no further, even by hurting yourself. I do not say this in order to wound. I could say other things if I really wanted to wound. 3. The dawn is gray here, she went on to tell him. It was not always like this. We do not know whom to accuse. At night the cattle make a great bellowing, long and flute-like at the end. We feel compassionate, but what can we do? The smell of eucalyptus surrounds us, a blessing, serenity, but it cannot protect us from everything. Or else do you think that it really can protect us from everything? 4. I add one further word to you, a question rather. Does water flow in your country too? I don't remember, rather you've told me so. It gives me chills too, if it is the real thing. Do I love it? I don't know. One feels so alone when it's cold, but quite otherwise when it is warm. Well then, how can I decide? How do you others decide? Tell me when you speak of it without disguise, with open heart. 5. I am writing to you from the end of the world. You must realize this. The trees often tremble. We collect the leaves. They have a ridiculous number of veins, but what for? There's nothing between them and the tree anymore, and we go off troubled. Could not life continue on earth without wind? Or must everything tremble always, always? There are subterranean disturbances too, in the houses as well, like angers which might come to face you, like stern beings who would like to wrest confessions. We see nothing except what is so unimportant to see. Nothing, and yet we tremble. Why? 6. We women here all live with tightened throats. Do you know, although I am very young, in other days I was still younger, and my companions were too? What does that mean? There is surely something horrible in it. And in other days, when I have already told you, we were younger still, we were afraid. Someone might have taken advantage of our confusion. Someone might have said to us, you see, we're going to bury you. The moment has arrived. We were thinking, it's true, we might just as well be buried this evening, if it is definitely stated that this is the moment. And we do not dare run too much, out of breath, at the end of a race, arriving in front of a ditch, all prepared, and no time to say a word, no breath. Tell me, just what is the secret in regard to this? 7. There are constant There are constantly, she told him to further, lions in the village who walk around without any hindrance at all, on condition that we pay no attention to them, they pay no attention to us. But if they see a young woman running in front of them, they have no desire to apologize for for her anxiety. No, they devour her at once. This is why they constantly walk about the village where they have nothing to do, for quite obviously they might yawn just as well elsewhere. 8. For a long, long time she confided to him, we have been in combat with the sea. On the very rare occasions when she is blue, soft, one might suppose her to be happy, but that would not last. Her smell says so anyway, a smell of rot, if it is not her bitterness. Here I should explain the matter of the waves. It is terribly complicated, and the sea, I implore you, have confidence in me. Would I want to deceive you? She is not only a word, she's not only a fear, she exists. I swear it to you. One sees her constantly. Who, why, we see her. She comes from far away to wrangle with us and to terrify us. When will you come? When you come, you will see for yourself. You will be very startled. Well, you'll say for sure she is stupefying. We'll look at her together. I am sure I will not be afraid. Tell me, will this never happen? 9. I cannot believe you with a doubt. She continues the lack of confidence. I would like to speak to you again of the sea, but the obstacle remains. The streams go forward, but not she. Listen, don't be angry. I swear it to you. I wouldn't dream of deceiving you. She is not like that. No matter how excited she gets, she will halt before a little sand. She's a great falterer. She would certainly like to go forward, but there's the story. Later on, maybe someday she will go forward. 10. We are more than ever surrounded by ants, says her letter. They push the dust uneasily at top speed. They take no interest in us. No one raises its head. This is the most tightly closed society that could exist. Although outdoors, they spread out constantly in all directions, no matter their projected schemes, their preoccupations, they are among themselves everywhere. And up to the present time, not one has raised its head towards us. It would rather be crushed. 11. She writes to him again. You cannot imagine all the things there is in the sky. You would have to see it to believe it. So now, but I'm going not to tell you their names at once. In spite of their air of weighing a great deal and occupying almost all the sky, they do not weigh, huge though they are, as much as a newborn baby. We call them clouds. It is true that water comes out of them, but not by compressing them or by pounding them. It would be useless. They have so little, but by reason of their occupying lengths, widths and widths, deeps and also and deeps, and of puffing themselves, they succeed in a long run in making a few droplets of water fall. Yes, of water. And we are really wet. We run off furious at having been trapped, for nobody knows the moment when they are going to release their drops. Sometimes they rest for days without releasing them, and one would stay home waiting for them in vain. 12. The education regarding chills is not well handled in this country. We are ignorant of the true rules when the event appears. We are taken unawares. It is time, of course. Is it the same with you? One must arrive a little sooner than it does. You see what I mean? Only a tiny little bit ahead. You know the story of the flea in the drawer? Yes, of course. And how true is it? Don't you think? I don't know what more to say. When are we going to see each other at last? So, that was a little longer than what I was expecting, but I kind of like how it was paraphrased into sections. Um, they're obviously talking about, you know, how things are where they are versus to the person whom they're writing to. I wish I knew what year this was written. I feel like with that context, I could kind of see what was happening in the world and what area, and I feel like that determines a lot. If you've ever written a letter, they're very like, I don't want to say niche. That's not the right word, but I want to say like with letters, they're so like you're writing it directly to one person and it's so directed towards that person that like you almost have to like look through and like take time to understand what is actually being said. There's just so many insiders. And when I lived far, I used to write letters all the time to my friends, and it was very particular with like memories that we had or things I knew they found interesting, and I would make sure to bring those up in the letters. So that was really cool. Overall, I thought this was good. I feel like this is like a movie. Like this is some like I don't know, Little Woman type thing. I feel like someone could definitely turn this into like a whole movie based off this letter, which is funny because the other day when I was talking about Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, I was like, oh shoot, like that was based off of a poem. Granted, the poem was very long. I still feel like just from hearing like a little thing, you can get so many ideas. And I feel like as I was reading this, I was getting a lot of ideas, even though that isn't really a genre that I kind of dive into in particular. Um, but yeah, I'm really glad I found it. Again, I don't think anything I've ever consumed or that, I don't think it's ever useless. I feel like it's meant to be like I was meant to find this, I was meant to read it for some reason. Maybe I may not use it now, but maybe 2 years from now, or maybe I don't know. It's just interesting how things work, and I like to trust in the universe a lot, and I like to put trust in the divine. So, but yeah, I gotta head out for the day. I have lots of things to do, but thank you for listening to this, and yeah, I will see y'all soon.